We arrive in the capital of Cuba, Havana. There were 7 of us then. And it was only then that we realized that the majority of us had something in common. We were all born in the year of the revolution. Every day there, I would gaze out my hotel room and I'd see a castle, a centuries-old Spanish castle by the sea. I had no idea what it was, but I was strongly led that we had to go there to see what was inside. So we did. It was a Spanish castle, centuries old. We walked through its ancient chambers, we turned a corner, and suddenly we behold this massive painting that stuns us. It was a painting of the Magi. It turned out the castle we were in was a national symbol of Cuba. You can see it on Cuban cigar boxes. It was a fort, like a symbol. It was a symbol of Cuba. In other ways, it was a fortress, which Cuba became. It was literally the name of it was the castle or the palace of the 3 kings. And in the painting, standing next to the Magi, was a boy holding in his hand an object that looked like a shofar, the very thing I was now bringing to Havana. We minister in a church in Havana. The pastor had gone through persecution, and he's weeping. And I spoke a word over him about Joshua, and he weeps even more because that was a word that he had gotten. Then he starts to speak to his congregation, and he starts speaking about a star appearing in the east. He said, and these visitors have come to us, and they've been following the star. Then he says, I see the Magi, and I see them going into Herod's palace. Now, you could say we had seen a spiritual star, but we hadn't seen any physical star. And now we're nearing the final part of our journey, and that was the one thing missing. We joked as whether in Havana we're going to see a star marking a spot that we're supposed to go to. The day before the gathering in Revolutionary Square, we decide to go to the square and pray over it. So we do, and sound the shofar to where the gathering would be the next day. Over Revolutionary Square is a towering monument, a monument that was lit up each night marking the square. It's called the Jose Marti Memorial. It was from this site that Castro would often speak to the multitudes. I'm led to go inside with a few others. We go inside the tower. Inside, they each give us a button to pin on our shirts. It's a museum inside. On the button is a star. The government official begins to reveal to us that the tower was built that from the sky it forms a star. The tower was a star. And as the star of the Magi marked the end of our journey, so the tower, the star, would mark our journey, the final destination. It actually marked 2 destinations. One, the place where God's people would gather the next day, and 2, the presidential palace from which Fidel Castro ruled Cuba. Just as the star of the Magi led them to Jerusalem, to Herod's palace, or their journey did, and then to Bethlehem where the life of God was. And in a nativity account, the star was linked to the presence of God, of Jesus, but also to an aging king and a dying kingdom. It was then we realized we had seen the star. Every night when I gazed out of my hotel room, one of the windows was facing Revolutionary Square. And what marked the square was the tower, the star. Every night we looked at it and didn't realize what it was. It was all ablaze with light, marking the spot of our destination. The next day we attended the first evangelical celebration in Revolutionary Square. And Fidel Castro was also there and witnessed it. And the square that was once filled with Cubans welcoming the revolution is now filled with believers with a different purpose here, worshiping Jesus. I was led to hold up the shofar of Jubilee for the entire time as a sign. And it was there that arrangements began that would lead me to the final destination of the journey.
To find out how you can receive more of Jonathan's teachings, to receive special free gifts, or get in touch, go to hopeoftheworld.org or call toll-free 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821. You can also get more at Jonathan Cahn's Facebook page or write us direct at Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA. Hope of the World is dedicated to the goal of spreading God's Word and salvation to every land and people. We do this by spreading the word throughout the world and sponsoring compassion projects to the most poor and needy around the earth. To get in touch or have a part in God's work, just write to Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA. Or go to hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821.